I was very interested in what was going on in the States, particularly with the Beat generation.
A lot of it, in fact, Miles had a hand in on the English end, because he managed to import literary works by the Beat generation, Burroughs, Ginsberg, Corso, Ferlinghetti, those people, long before anybody else had really knew anything about them.
My particular interest was the Beats, and so in July or June, when Allen Ginsberg came to London, I immediately put him on as a featured reader, and we didn't even have to put up a sign. I mean, the place packed out. I mean, you couldn't even get in. And then Allen Ginsberg said that Lawrence Ferlinghetti was in Paris and on his way over to Britain, and also turned out that Gregory Corso was in Italy and on his way to Britain. So we were having very much a sort of Beat generation summer. And one day we were talking about all these Beats going to be in London, and Alan had a sort of on-off girlfriend called Barbara Rubin, who just simply said, where's the biggest place in town? And my wife said, the Albert Hall. So Barbara literally went over to the till, got hold of the phone and booked the Albert Hall in 10 days' time. And of course, as soon as the hall was booked, how are we going to fill 7,000 seats? And this is when Hoppy came into the act to help organize daily press releases and photo shoots at the Albert Memorial outside the Albert Hall, and running all kinds of little squibs in the different newspapers and finding ways of drawing attention to it, so that in fact it not only sold out, but people were turned away.
I was really sceptical that something like that would fill the Albert Hall, but not only did it fill it, but by the time we got there, the only space that we could squeeze in was up in the gallery, right up the very top.
The spirit of adventure, the spirit of discovery that was boiling in London at that time found an expression at the Albert Hall. The fact that Albert Hall was absolutely filled was a tremendous impetus to the counterculture of the time, because we could see that we were not alone.
Yeah, it was very daunting to get to that many people. It was a landmark in my career for sure.
And it turned into a party, really. The reading itself wasn't actually all that great. There were 17 poets, many of them fairly mediocre. But the key thing was, in all of the boxes in the Albert Hall, there was a party going on. Right? And people brought picnics, they brought bottles of wine, they were smoking pot. The whole thing was this extraordinary event. I mean, it really was a happening. It was like a sort of a poetry rave or something.
Then Ernst Jandl came on, and he did this sound poem based on the opening line of the Gospel according to St. John, in German, Im Anfang war das Wort. And he started to break it down, and before long it became this deafening, cacophonic sort of noise, and just amazing stuff.
The poet Harry Fainlight, who was, by the look of it to me, on speed, was trying to read a deep poem about the LSD experience.
I very much remember Harry Fainlight, because he so wanted to read his poems, and Allen Ginsberg said, let him read his poems. But he said he'd taken a lot of amphetamine, so his mouth was all like all the time, and he was quite upset about that.
Fresh wildernesses resurrected from the raw broken concrete at the airfield's edge.
For me, that stands out a lot, because I thought, here's a crazy man standing in front of all these thousands of people, kind of revealing and exposing and saying these fearful things that were going on in his head. And I was quite amazed by it, and I was quite shocked that people were prepared to shout him down.
Simon Vinkenoog was actually Dutch. He was a Dutch poet, and he was very much acclaimed on the beat poet scene. He was there, and he'd done a poetry reading earlier and had taken mescaline, and was really opening his heart to the audience, and his first poetry reading was very well received. When Harry was struggling, Simon suddenly burst out with love, 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 love. And it didn't actually help Harry. Strangely, I thought it would. He was saying love. You know, this whole thing is what we poets are driving at is love. Eventually, Alexander Trocchi had to take Harry off the stage because he was being booed, and for some reason, the audience erupted against Harry. And in the end, he just fell into Allen Ginsberg's arms. It was very, very sad, and I don't think Harry ever fully recovered from that rejection. There was a lot of alcohol flowing in the poet bowl there, and there were a lot of bars up there, and a lot of the poets did drink too much.
Ginsberg himself got very drunk and did a pretty bad reading.
I have to read slowly that he will understand. It will come out of the mouth of the pilot, the dry-lipped diplomat.
And I know for a fact that afterwards he was very regretful of that, and felt that he had missed an opportunity and that he could have done better, and was fairly scathing, I think, about some of the British poets. Whereas some British poet, Adrian Mitchell, really hit the mark.
I smell something burning. Hope it's just my brains. They're only dropping peppermints and daisy chains. So stuff my nose with garlic, coat my eyes with butter, fill my ears with silver, stick my legs in plaster, tell me lies about Vietnam.
The Albert Hall reading was definitely the catalyst for the whole London Underground scene. That was really the first time that the community got together and recognised each other and saw each other for what they were, some kind of countercultural group, which later on the press dubbed, flower children or hippies or something. We thought, the energy given off by this crowd is just so fantastic. We want to somehow use that to change things.